Mugshots. After the Southport riots or disturbances, or however you would like to characterise them, the people who were arrested, their mugshots came up straight away. The mugshots of them as middle-aged people or older, terrified mugshots showing them not in the best of light. Mugshots, of course, are not meant to be flattering. But of all the mugshots, the one mugshot we didn't get to see was the mugshot of Axel Rudakubana. All we got of him was a picture of him as a child, with a nice smiley face, described as a Welsh choir boy. You may ask why the government decided to hide the image of this recently arrested, and now he's said he's guilty, murderer. Well, let's look into this. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. So Rudakubana had a long history of violence. He was referred to the government's counter-terrorism prevent programme 3 times between December 2019 and April 2021. He had an obsession with it, had been visited by police several times. It intensified in year 9, that's school year 9, that would be 13 to 14 years old. Fellow pupils remember him as having an obsession with despotic figures, Genghis Khan and Adolf Hitler. He was actually excluded from the school in 2019 at the age of 13. It was a call. One of the incidents that led to that exclusion was a call to Childline, in which he said he was going to take a knife to school because of racial bullying. He returned with a hockey stick and assaulted a pupil, breaking that pupil's wrist. He went to a sixth form school, Pressfield High School and Specialist College, and the school actually asked for police to attend when they I don't know what, he was obviously excluded a lot, so he had to have home visits from a teacher or some welfare officer, and they wanted some police backup with them. A week before the Southport attacks, the BBC understands Rudakubana's father prevented him from taking a taxi back to his former school because his father was worried, apparently, about what he was going to do there. So you can feel sorry for the father as well, because obviously he was not trying to hide the problems his son was having. Now, I'm just making a guess here, but in my opinion, it looks like he has some serious mental problems. I'm not excusing him. Because we all know that mental problems can be exacerbated by certain ideologies. They can give permission for mental irresponsibility. Let's get back to the mugshot idea. So, let's have a look. Oh, here we are. Let's have a look at some mugshots, should we? This is Julie Sweeney, who was placed in front of the camera and is looking at, I don't know how long, 2 years in jail. And of course, Peter Lynch, who was so terrified by the prospect of spending, it was something like 3 years in jail, that he killed himself. But if you notice how these people are made to look by the mugshot, whether deliberately or not, as rough and guilty as possible. Now, the only things we saw of Rudakubana was this fresh-faced kid's picture. And then later on, after the first hearings, we got some court sketches. And this was one of them. And this was another showing the full face. Now, I want to tell you that when I saw the mugshot, which has now been released, I was so horrified by it that I thought it was an AI image which had been constructed from this here. here in case you haven't seen it. It's a horrific, almost demonic image. And that's what this kid looked like. And now you can see, to a certain extent, why the government might have thought it was not appropriate to put that out as his mugshot, because it looks like they're stacking the court case. Here, let's make this a bit bigger. It's so evil and terrifying it doesn't even look real. And I can imagine somebody in the government looking at that and saying, we can't show that because it's going to make people riot. Now, just a minute. I don't think it would have done. But that's another problem, you see, because our government doesn't trust us. The difference between America and Britain, at least at the moment, is that in America, you guys in America don't trust your government. That's why you insist on being able to bear arms, and that's why you have all these free speech laws and things like that, because you don't trust your government not to get overbearing in its treatment of its own citizens. You American citizens don't trust your government. In our country right now, our government doesn't trust us. And that's why they've taken away our guns, and that's why they're trying to squash down any free speech we might have left. And this is a good example of how the government doesn't trust us. Because they thought, as soon as they saw this mugshot, oh no, this is going to lead to full-scale riots in the streets when people see this. Instead of people looking at it and saying, this is definitely a photograph of somebody who is mentally disturbed. Instead, we got all these wild theories, some of which actually were engineered by Muslims in other countries. Okay, anyway, that's the thing. So they had no problem in releasing this sort of mugshot, because they knew that the British wouldn't, they had the idea that British people wouldn't riot over somebody who looks like this being put in prison. Actually, they're wrong. Peter Lynch is going to echo down the history of this government. But then, when did Keir Starmer ever get anything right? The man has a positive genius for getting things wrong. But anyway, yeah, they saw no problem with putting that out. But this would have encouraged people to think of the whole problem of immigration from certain parts of the world, which we might not consider as civilised as ours. And because the government doesn't trust us to weigh things up for ourselves, they gave us this photo instead. And that's what's been going on. Anyway, now we've all seen the face of evil, and it really is the face of evil. But we've also, in many ways, we've exposed the way our government thinks of us. And maybe that's even more evil even than this. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.